Hello everybody, my name is Father Mislav. I'm a Catholic Dominican priest, and in this video I'm gonna be making a tier list on all the Warhammer 40k factions. If you're interested, stay and watch. Pax vobiscum salvete omnes. After watching all two parts, but in 4 videos that I edited of Bricky's all Warhammer 40k factions re-explained, I decided to make a tier list on all these factions. I thought that it might be interesting for you guys, and of course it's a good repetition for me to remember all the factions that were counted inside. Now, in which manner am I gonna make this tier list? Well, I thought that the best thing to do would be to look at it from 2 perspectives. First is my Catholic priest perspective. So, depending on what is that race, what is the faction like. So, if someone is more close to the Christian ideal, of course, it's going to be higher on the tier list. If someone is downright nihilistic or evil, something closer to simply destruction or irrational rage or sloth or whichever capital sin it would be that's incorporated within the actions or mindset of a specific faction or race, of course that's going to be lower on the tier list. Why? Because the idea is, would I play that faction? Would I roleplay as that faction? Now, I think we all know that role-playing, as fun as it is not that harmless, because depending on who we roleplay, we slowly change our psychological perspective on that thing that we're role-playing. Basically, we're creating an emotional connection with the person or the ideology in which we are role-playing. If I'm role-playing as an evil person, someone who is an arsonist, someone who is murdering everybody just to be richer or to have some kind of satisfaction, that's gonna influence on my mind. It's gonna have a psychological influence on everybody, of course, and vice versa. If you're struggling with maintaining, I don't know, some kind of a moral standing or some kind of a balance, and you decide to roleplay someone who's very virtuous, like a paladin type of a character, someone who's maybe struggling, not an illusory perfect character, but a real character who has his or her history and nuances, but has a clear goal that wants to be a virtuous person. Of course, role-playing as that type of a person, that's going to influence you as well. I played Dungeons & Dragons a lot in my youth, so I know about that. I played both good and bad characters. I was not always a Catholic priest. I was not always in faith at all. So I can speak a little bit from my experience in these kind of stuff. So yeah, from the perspective of role-playing characters, that's how I'm gonna be making the tier list. I counted 20 different factions. Not each of them is a faction in itself, but some of them are close enough, or they're like a subsections or a faction that are good enough for me to be able to put them on the tier list. Now, what is the S, A, B, C, and D tier list? Well, S tier would be something like beacons of struggle and hope, or some kind of a tragic hero. Factions that, despite this grimdark environment, embody virtues like selflessness or sacrifice or some hope, something that's residing with the Christian ideals of fighting evil and striving for the higher good. A tier would be some like questioners of dogma, maybe complex allies, factions with intriguing lore, clear objectives, maybe flawed in some kind of a way, but definitely not inherently evil. For sure, they would have some room for moral reflections, whether on the limits of knowledge, idealism, pragmatism, challenging established dogmas in a positive kind of way, etc. B tier would be some factions that are on the good side nominally, but they employ definitely moral pragmatism and self-interested. They're morally ambiguous. might makes right, maybe, and basically the mindset of your actions, well, the goal will excuse whatever actions that you're making. There's a lot of that in Warhammer 40k, as you are aware. The C tier would be something like deluded, desperate, those who are in corruption, or those are in error, fight out of desperation. There are maybe traces of something good, former good. They are maybe victims of circumstance, but still they are heavily corrupted. Right? And the D tier, like the last one, the fifth one, would be those who are both completely corrupted, basically there is little or no hope for redemption for them. And on the other side, everything that is completely evil, nihilistic, everything that represents like pure, unadulterated evil, with no hope for redemption, definitely. So that's gonna be my 5 different tiers, and we're gonna start with the Necron. Now, Necron were the first ones that, and I'm counting them chronologically in the same way how Bricky had in his videos, because it's easier for me to remember and to have some kind of an order in there. Now, maybe I will leave some factions for the end. I will not immediately or in the same order put them, because they're like special. Okay, Necron. Well, the Necrons are like waking up after a long, long nap, if I remember, like 60 million years long nap, and they find their body like in a soulless metal skeleton. Gods have betrayed them, the galaxy is infested with organics, squishy, annoying organics, and that's their experience. They were once a dying organic race. They were tricked by the Votan, the star gods, and they had the biotransference for immortality, and now they're just mad because it was not that good, the trade. Well, they were tricked. They're very grumpy, they're very much technologically superior, maybe like at the peak of whatever technology can do within this universe, and in a way they have lost their souls, and the soul is a very complicated and ambiguous term within Warhammer 40k. There is a lot of existential dread, ancient grudges, sheer absurdity of their advanced but often malfunctioning tech. At least in the way how Bricky presented it, and how some of you have maybe informed me within the comments that I have read. Well, the Necron are definitely the bad guys. We want to fight against them. I would never roleplay them unless there would be like a very, very interesting civilizational perspective of a specific faction within the Necron that decided to act good, that decided to be virtuous and rebel against their dominion. But no, they're all power hungry, they want immortality, and they want to rule forever. And they're, just because of that, they're immediately bad guys. So yeah, I'm definitely putting them into the D tier. Next, Chaos Gods. Okay, so these aren't just bad guys. They are personification of a galactic scale sin and despair. Everything emotionally bad, and everything bad that can be done or felt or experienced through bad decisions, through some form of a sin, is in a way materialized or immaterialized, I don't know, within those entities. We have a couple of them: Khorne, Nurgle, Tzeentch, what's the pronunciation, and Slaanesh, the 4 of them. So they definitely feed on the emotions of mortals. They want to consume everything, they want to corrupt everything. They are definitely the closest to what we could describe as demonic presences, or like archdemons, like fallen angels within the biblical Christian narrative. So it's not hard for me to immediately put them into the D rank. They are the bad guys, and we have to fight against bad guys. I know that some of you try to, well, you make some kind of explanation how there's specific parts of them that are not that bad. They incorporate both. That's more like morally ambiguous, not evil, not good either. They incorporate both. But honestly, I don't know if that's a new addition to the lore. I think some of you mentioned that originally it was not like that. And Chaos Gods have to be the bad guys. Something has to be the ultimate evil inside of the world. If you make everything totally, absolutely morally ambiguous, it's gonna collapse in itself. So it's not good. And if we're making excuses or constant excuses for every little part of Chaos Gods, it seems to me that you are already on a high level of corruption. Next, the Eldar. Now, Eldari are a very interesting race. That's like the ultimate cautionary tale of pride and of decadence. They were the dominant galactic civilization, and but in their power, they just became a totally hedonistic culture. They could do everything and anything, and through their hedonism, they gave birth to Slanesh, a chaos god who devoured most of their souls. So now there are a remnant. There is like 1/1,000,000th or even less of them than it was before. So now they are scattered across galaxy in those massive craft worlds. They're desperately trying to outmaneuver their fate to save the remnants of their dying race. In Bricky's video, he emphasized their arrogance, their definitely melancholic wisdom that they have because they're ancient. Their constant, often manipulative struggle to avoid total annihilation. They're very much afraid to disappear. And they are prepared, I think, to sacrifice others in order for them to stay alive. But they are tragic figures. And now we know that they're like the good, in a way, Eldar. Not maybe like perfect good, but better Eldar, definitely. And then those who are completely corrupted, who went totally in the direction of exploiting the other people in order for them to increase their power, to feed on others. But for the regular Eldar from the craft worlds, I think it would be interesting to play them. They have ancient knowledge and they carry a lot of sadness in them. They experience something very tragic. They're very much the race that had the experience like of living in Eden, like Adam and Eve, and then falling out of grace. And now they have to manage. They have no choice. So it would be very interesting to play them. They would maybe not be like number one for me, but they are definitely close. So I will put them in A tier. For now, definitely you will stay in A tier. Interesting race to play. Next, the Dark Eldar, or Drukhari. Well, if the Eldar are the cautionary tale, the Dark Eldar are the ones who doubled down on the depravity. They were bad before, they were even worse right now, if that is possible. And that's extremely difficult and scary right now. They are sadists to the core, to the nth potency. The sadistic space pirates and torturers who live in shadowy extra-dimensional city of Komorag, or Komora. They're trying to stave off Slanesh's hunger for their souls, and how they do that? They raid the galaxy, they feed on pain and suffering of others. They're exceptionally cruel, stylish, terrifying, complete immorality in them, they don't care. And they basically just want to develop other or more fancy methods of torture. They're ultimate bad guys. They're over there among the chaos gods. Somehow it's easy to have even more loathing towards them than the chaos gods. In a way, the chaos gods, even though sentient, you can somehow excuse them in a way. Like they are the combination of all the emotions, etc., etc. But these guys are actually the most disgusting entities that I've seen, or faction that I've seen with so far inside of the universe. So out of these four, I would put them definitely on top of the D rank. or of the bottom? Which way should I do that? Maybe at the bottom. Maybe like this. Yeah, like this. They're at the bottom. They are the worst so far. Okay, next. The Imperium, or Imperium of Man. It's a colossal, crumbling, xenophobic human empire that stretches across the galaxy, held together by sheer fanaticism and dying will of the God Emperor. It's a very brutal, it's a dogmatic, it's a struggling regime, fighting almost like a losing battle on countless fronts against aliens, heretics, demons, against everybody except themselves, in a way. Well, even among themselves, they have a lot of infighting. That's the grim, dark absurdity of its scale. Infinite and inefficient bureaucracy that exists among the trillions of souls inside of the Empire. Very much tragic and constant sacrifice of thousands, if not 10,000s of souls each day for the Emperor, as you wrote. So it's kind of crazy. You feel connected because, in a way, yeah, they are humans. So you feel connected. I feel connected. Everybody that watch can have a specific connection with them. But you can also see everything that's bad within our world or specific countries that we live in. It's somehow pushed to the extreme and incorporated within this world. Just to live inside of this Imperium of Man is something that you kind of don't want, but it's also something that you have to. And it's also, in a way, very much familiar, because all the bad things, we are aware of them. Maybe they are not as pronounced in our world, but they are just reflections to the extreme of our realities, our experiences that we have. So Imperium of Man, how it's created, it's definitely not on A rank regarding the morality. It's B or C rank even, maybe B rank. But it's very interesting craftsmanship of the whole world. It would be interesting to play it, to play inside of it, you know, to be a part of the Imperium, to live somewhere within and try to struggle within the bureaucracy, or to find your way among countless other souls, try to reach the top in a way. I will put them so far in B rank. Okay. Next is Adeptus Mechanicus. So, tech priests from Mars. They are basically cyborgs who worship the Omnissiah, or the machine god. They are obsessed with discovering and understanding ancient technology. They have very, very rigid dogmas and rituals that often make no logical sense to anybody else other than them. They believe all knowledge that exists comes through the Omnissiah, and that Emperor is like the embodiment of Omnissiah. So they want more augmentations. They want to transform themselves as much as they can inside of the machine. And yeah, it's funny, from my Rogue Trader CRPG experience, they basically worship the spirit machine, like the electricity inside of the machine. And often they can understand how the machine functions, but not why. It's like the knowledge is lost somewhere inside of the history, and that's why they have like the rituals. They don't really truly understand the functioning of many of those machines, but they know which buttons to push in order for the machine to function in the way that they want. It's weird. It's very much a transhumanistic race. Well, they're humans, but they are merging with the machines. They're dehumanizing themselves because they think they're going to achieve higher state of consciousness if they merge with the Benharic code and start speaking in the Benharic code. That the machine is somehow superior to this decomposing flesh, something that's corruptible. Yeah, from the Catholic perspective, transhumanism is definitely not good. God himself decided to become human, to become flesh, to take this corruptible body, because in the end his plan is for us to live in everlasting glory with resurrected bodies that will never decay. So constructing within ourselves, within our minds, some kind of a hatred towards this that we are given is definitely not good. It's very self-destructive, and it will avail to no good in the end. There's a very strong transhumanist movement in our world today, so I guess a lot of people can somehow connect to these guys, and I am enjoying the character of Pascal within the game. They're an interesting faction, and I think I will put them on B tier. On B tier. Yeah, because they're kind of good guys. I would not put them in C tier, but then again, I don't think they would be like among my first choices for sure for playing. Okay, next we have the Imperial Knights. Okay, so we imagine feudal knights, but instead of horses they ride gargantuan bipedal machines. And the machines have devastating weaponry. The machines are like from a couple of meters to a couple of dozens of, maybe even hundreds of meters in size. So those who ride those machines are nobles, noble houses, right? Bound by ancient oaths, codes of honor, often fighting alongside the Imperium. Each knight is somehow bound to the machine, and that's what's interesting. And inside of the machine is also something like spirit either of the machine itself or also of the previous riders of that machine, which makes for an interesting dynamic for every person that is inside. Their willpower has to be very strong, as we've seen in Hell's Reach. You can check out my reaction to all 13 parts of Hell's Reach, and the rider of the Titan, Zara, and how her willpower had to be on point all the time because of the other voices from the machine trying to take over. Okay, so for them it's similar. Actually, they're a little bit better. Even they're better in a way than the Imperium of Man in general. So they have their codes of honor. There's some chivalry inside. There's something inspiring in a way in these kind of characters. And they have a specific independence because they are nobles inside the Imperium. Definitely a higher position. So they are above average members of the human race, I would say. That's how I perceive them. It's very important that I don't have a lot of knowledge of Warhammer world. I watched Hell's Reach, I play Rogue Trader, and I watched Bricky's reaction videos. That's about it. So from the knowledge that I gathered and the comments that I read that you wrote, I am making this kind of a tier list. Now, next one, the Imperial Guard, or Astra Militarum. Okay, now I really liked them. And if you watched my reaction video to Bricky's Factions Re-Explained, you know that I liked them. They are the backbone of Imperium's military. I asked a question at one time whether all all Space Marines, all the Astartes, would win in a fight against all of the Imperial Guard. And it was like not one person said that the Space Marines would win. Because there are way too many of the Imperial Guard, like billions and billions, maybe trillions, which is shocking but interesting. They are ordinary humans. They're not augmented in any kind of way. They're almost like a cannon fodder, but that cannon fodder has truly unyielding bravery, immense numbers, definitely, endless supply of heavy artillery that is probably produced on Mars. And there are different factions depending on the planets they're on. I think the Steel Legion was on House Reach. I know that the name of Cadians is oftentimes mentioned, and there are many more. They're definitely the most relatable faction because they're like us. There are a lot of them. They fight against stronger odds always. It's very easy for them to die, and unlike the Space Marines, unlike the Imperial Knights, unlike the Adeptus Mechanicus, unlike those who have some kind of superpowers, they're just humans, and they utilize whichever sources, whichever tools that I have in order to survive, in order to fight and to protect the Imperium. So there's something truly noble in them. They're the defenders of the Imperium. Without them, definitely the Imperium would have crumbled a long time ago. And I would like to learn about specific factions or like legions within the Imperial Guard for sure. I'm putting them in S rank. I'm glad for the Bricky's video, because I did not have a high opinion of the Imperial Guard before I watched his video. Next, Leagues of Votan. We're almost halfway there. Leagues of Votan. Okay, that's just weird. They're like the space dwarfs, but they're like capitalist, pragmatic, highly advanced, but also their technology is constantly resetting. They're like almost... I said like the combination of the clones from the Star Wars and a combination of the Na'vi from the Avatar. That's how I imagined for these Votan to be. Cloned race, very resilient. They have like one common consciousness to which they are plugging themselves in. They're very, well, stubborn, like the dwarves of D&D. Their focus is on mining, on trade, like the dwarves in general, from Tolkien on. There's definitely no nonsense approach to galactic affairs, but I don't know a lot about them. And from the video, I did not have enough time to, well, to achieve some kind of deeper awareness or knowledge of them. Would I play them? I'm really not sure. So I think I would just put them on the B tier. It's similar to the Adeptus Mechanicus, but it's just weirder. Usually I'm a very big fan of dwarves. Inside of the Forgotten Realms, D&D, whatever, different settings of D&D, I love the dwarves. I always loved the dwarves. Not a lot of people pick dwarves. They're shorter, they're stubby, their movement speed is not 30 feet but 20 feet. But they're very much resilient, they're strong, and you can roleplay them very well. They're very good characters to roleplay. For some reason, they're not the top pick, they never were, but I love them. So, but these guys, they're not that attractive, to be honest. Maybe because of that weird technological stuff. Cloned guys who plug to the common consciousness, and blue screens of death emerge in their systems from time to time. Just weird, I don't know. Next. Ha ha ha, now the interesting part comes, the Chaos Space Marines, or Heretic Astartes, the corrupted Astartes. They are the original traitors who turned their backs on the Emperor during Horus Heresy, which happened around 10,000 years ago. And they're still alive. They're corrupted, living inside the warp most of the time, right? They're very much bitter, often insane, and like they're the counterparts to the Space Marines. I'm not sure if they're as strong as Space Marines, less strong, more strong, depending on how the writer of the novels maybe creates them. I don't know. As for the Space Marines, each legion is unique. They have devotion to chaos gods, right? I think one of the legions actually has devotion to all of the chaos gods or something like that. Well, in the Bricky's video, there's a highlight definitely on their fall from grace. And because of that, they have eternal bitterness and diverse horrifying waves that they've embraced damnation. They are the grandsons of the Emperor, right? All the Space Marines. And often people call them angels. So the Chaos Marines are the fallen angels. Some of you said that it's kind of possible for them to even be redeemed. So that would make for an interesting story for the Chaos Marine to somehow be redeemed. I don't know what would be the consequences for his life. I don't know. But that would be an interesting narrative. But again, I think it's completely fine for them to simply be evil as they chose. In a spiritual realm, within the biblical Catholic worldview, you know, once you're not inside of this temporal dimension, each choice carries infinite weight. So choice to be completely related to God, or submitting your will to God, or accepting God's will to you, it's an ultimate choice. To decide to rebel against God's will for you, or in general, it's also like an ultimate infinite choice. It's the end once you choose. It has eternal consequence. So I know that I cannot just completely translate this reality to the fiction of Warhammer 40k, but it's kind of fun to do that sometimes. So I like having clarity on who's the bad guy. Tolkien loved doing that, as his Catholic spirit urged him to do so, because we need that. We need clarity on the bad guys. St. Paul said, we do not fight against flesh and bones, right, blood, but against the principalities and all the spiritual entities that lurk around us. They're the bad guys, and we need to know who are the bad guys against whom we have to fight. Chaos Marines are good bad guys. So I would not roleplay Chaos Marines, and I like having them as bad guys. But I haven't read or learned anything more about them other than that they're corrupted Space Marines. I still like their images and who they are way more than the Drukhari. So I'll put them on top of the D tier, actually. Okay, next, the Dark Mechanicum. They are the corrupted Adeptus Mechanicus. If the Adeptus Mechanicus are weird, and yes, they are weird, the Dark Mechanicum are just weird and unholy. So they abandoned the Omnissiah for the forbidden knowledge and the power that comes from chaos. So everything technological can now be imbued with the psychic energies of chaos, corrupted technology in a way. They create demon engines. I fought against one demon engine in Rogue Trader. Just fusion of technology and demonic entities. And of course that would be like very perverse, but also very powerful. They are definitely the bad guys against whom we have to fight. I would put them here somewhere. Somewhere like here. Okay. Other than that, I don't know a lot about them, but I'm sure I will learn with time. Next, Adeptus Custodes. Now, the Emperor's personal golden guardians. They are genetically like perfect warriors, like Primarchs, each worth 100 Space Marines. Okay, some of you said actually that they're even stronger than Primarchs. Some of you said that's not true, so I don't know what to believe. There are a lot of contradicting opinions definitely inside of the Warhammer. Well, they are few in number, I think 10,000 of them in total, but they possess unparalleled strength. In my Bricky reaction video, I put a video of the Winged Hussars. They somehow reminded me of the Winged Hussars and of the epic battles. There were not a lot of them, but all of them, the nobles, were actually the Winged Hussars, and they were the most terrifying cavalry ever in existence, probably. Definitely a strong mark on our history. And the shininess of their armors, the lances, the psychological impact of everybody that would see them, and also great strength and great skill. So yes, there are interesting characters. To roleplay a Adeptus Custodes would be very interesting, actually. They're like the Swiss Guard, aren't they? That guard the Pope. Probably the Swiss Guard are the primary inspiration for Adeptus Custodes. And to roleplay a Swiss Guard person would be incredibly interesting. You can write like a series of novels, and also like seeing stuff that's happening, but they're incredibly loyal. They know that even the downfalls or weaknesses of other people around them, maybe even of the Pope himself or the Emperor himself, is not ultimately important, because they know that their service is the thing of the highest importance. And yeah, all in all, I think that Adeptus Custodes are definitely a very interesting race, and I will put them as an S tier. To roleplay as Adeptus Custodes would be a blast, a very interesting experience. Okay, now we have Orks. Orks, I will leave Orks for a little bit later, because I'm not completely sure what to do about them, but I think it would be interesting. Next, I will put the Inquisition. Now, it's within the Imperium of Man. Agents of the Imperium were inside of the Bricky's videos, but it's inside of the Imperium. The Inquisition are the secret police of the Imperium. They are definitely powerful and ruthless organization. The point of the Inquisition is to hunt heresy, to hunt Xenos as well, and mutants as well. Everything that's hiding within the Imperium, everything that can be a cause of the downfall of the Imperium. They have almost absolute authority, and that makes them quite frightening. Oftentimes it's beyond the law. So they are the law, the Inquisition, using any means necessary, and they are not afraid to do something quite, well, morally abhorrent, so to say, to achieve their goals. So yeah, a lot of people are very much afraid of them. They have also the ability to use exterminatus to completely destroy a whole planet if they deem that the planet is or will be completely corrupted by the Immaterium. Also very much frightening thing. So the Inquisition, well, not sure what to think about it. Of course, the inspiration is the Inquisition from the Middle Ages, a very interesting historical happening or entity that existed in different forms within the Catholic and the Protestant churches. Something more on the civil level or something more on the church level. It was not as evil as it is presented in modern media. But that there were bad things happening within, for sure. The civil authorities trying to maintain their unity and the power definitely used the church in order to root out everything or everyone that could be a danger to their rule. Now, there were bad guys within the Inquisition, historically. Most of them were like the Inquisitors, those who were doing the investigations, that literally means to be like an Inquisitor, to be an investigator, right? But most of them were like normal good guys, priests, some of them holy people. But definitely there were bad guys there as well. Here inside of the Imperium, it seems like it's a little bit opposite. Most of them are just bad guys from our or my Christian perspective. But I think definitely there are good guys there as well. Guys who are struggling with the decisions that they're making, and those who are really trying to do what's best and will not succumb to their urges and will not become slaves to the power that they possess, and they possess a lot of power. To roleplay an Inquisition character would be very interesting. For me personally, a lot of Dominicans were Inquisitors. Well, a lot of religious people were a part of the Inquisition. Why? It's interesting. The Pope basically needed someone who would be loyal to him, not to the specific bishops or to the state. So loyalty is one part of it. Other than that, harder to bribe. We religious people, Franciscans, Dominicans, we have a vow of poverty, a vow of chastity, and vow of obedience. So that doesn't mean that we cannot be tempted. No. But it's harder to tempt us than the regular people because we made those vows publicly. We, out of our own free wills, decided to live the way that we live in order to serve Christ fully, more perfectly. And it's harder to bribe us and it's harder to, well, seduce us, you know. So it would make sense for to choose those kind of people to be, well, investigators, inquisitors. Also, the Dominicans, at least, later on other orders as well, were very much well educated. And that was a part of it as well. You wanted a good educated person to make the investigation. You don't want someone who is prone to just picking whoever or being superstitious. No, you want someone who can use their reason in a proper way. Okay, yeah. I will put them in A rank. I think it would be very interesting to roleplay. As a faction, they're not A rank. They would be B rank, like morally ambiguous, maybe even C rank, like somewhere there. But from my perspective of wanting to roleplay some kind of a character and maybe like fighting to do what's best within the world, as I am doing, engaging with the Warhammer world in general and playing Rogue Trader, it would be very much a challenging but fun thing to do to roleplay Inquisition. So Inquisition, I'm putting on A rank. I'll be putting Inquisition in A rank. Wow, I hope this tier list will not be too controversial, you know, when guys see like a Dominican priest's tier list and what I'm putting inside, I don't know what's the reaction gonna be. Well, oh well. This is not like the formal reaction of the Catholic Church or the Dominican Order. No, this is from Mislav, a father that is also a human being who played a lot of role-playing games and who loves these kind of things. And I have my personal biases as well, and that's fine. Next, the Rogue Trader faction. The Rogue Trader faction are as powerful, I would say, as the Inquisition. Very powerful, especially if they are on the fringes of the Imperium, where the authority of the Inquisition is not as strong as it is closer to Terra. So, because of their strong connections, incredible wealth, they can actually sometimes even be disobedient or engage into, well, squabbles or even fights against the Inquisition. Even though Inquisition formally is higher than the Rogue Traders, realistically it is not always so. And you have infinite possibilities to roleplay a Rogue Trader, and of course that is the reason the Rogue Trader tabletop game exists, and also the CRPG and everything else. It's the best way to play Warhammer 40k. Exploration, exploring the worlds. And yeah, I'll put them in A rank in general. You have a lot of options to do so, and you can create whichever type of a person or character that you want. Now, you can be other race as well and be a Rogue Trader. Or can you, though? Maybe not. Imperium doesn't like Xenos. No, I don't think you can, unless you did something extremely specific and special. Maybe be a part of a Rogue Trader's retinue. Yes, that's for sure that you can. I know that you can. But maybe to be a Rogue Trader, I think you have to be a human. Okay, next, the Ecclesiarchy. Well, that's the official church of the Imperium. It's a gargantuan, it's a dogmatic and often corrupt institution that governs the spiritual life of humanity. And the bizarre thing of the Ecclesiarchy is that they enforced worship of the Emperor, and Emperor never wished for other people to worship him. He actually tried to extinguish any type of religion that exists in Terra and other worlds as well, I guess, but he failed to do so. Maybe he was aware that he would fail. It was a futile effort, because in every person within the fictive world and inside of our world, we have a strong desire, need. It's ingrained in us to worship. We are a religious species, a religious race. The religious instinct is in us. if we do not worship the right God, or the God who is the creator of all, the one who is good, the one who loves us and wants to save us, we will find something else to worship. Whether it's ourselves or creations of our own hands, whether in like the golden calf or in AI, or whichever technological breakthrough that we made. Maybe we will worship our friends, our family members, maybe nature, I don't know. Turn around, look around you guys, look inside of yourselves and your surroundings, and you can analyze what people are worshipping around us. And there are different types of worship. Everybody is, in a way, worshipping something or someone. Ecclesiarchy would be very challenging to play because they're crazy and they're dogmatic, and they're, even though of course the aspiration is the Catholic Church, for the Ecclesiarchy it's kind of heretical to see from the perspective like emperor doesn't want to be worshipped, and the emperor is like the Christ type figure. I don't know, but Christ definitely had no issues of people worshipping him from the historical perspective, from the right context. He said things that were very much blasphemous to Jews. He did pronounce himself as God. He did. So he wants us to worship him, and through that, and through consuming his sacrifice, to unite with Godhood, to unite with him. So, but here in Warhammer 40k, yeah, Ecclesiarchy worships someone who doesn't want to be worshipped. So just weird, and they're overly, I don't know, zealous, and they're just not normal. You cannot communicate. Inside of the game, in Rogue Trader, I did not have a chance to communicate normally. Well, maybe one person from Ecclesiarchy, but that's like also a person, like a missionary, far out and outside of the, well, usual places of existence of the Ecclesiarchy. Yeah, there was one person that was kind of normal and interesting, but most of them are just weird and crazy, and it's hard to roleplay them. So, even though I'm a priest, Ecclesiarchy would not be my first place for roleplaying, because it would be too hard to roleplay. We are just not that weird and crazy, no matter what the public may think of the Catholic Church and of us. We're just like, most of us are just normal people that try to serve God and love him and help others to know God and to love him more. And yeah, and the Ecclesiarchy here is not like that. I will put them in C rank. I see now that I didn't put anyone in C. Even though the C, what did I said for the C rank? The deluded and the desperate. Well, they are kind of deluded in a way. I don't know. Not because they're evil in itself, in that kind of a way, but just because it's kind of repulsive for me to play this kind of a religious figure. That's it. It's my personal bias why I'm putting Ecclesiarchy in C. But after Ecclesiarchy in general, we come to Adeptus Sororitas, Sisters of Battle. Now, the vibe from the Bricky's videos is that we have fiery, all-female warriors of the Ecclesiarchy, which are fanatically devoted to the Emperor. They fight with unshakable faith, and that faith can manifest somehow like acts of faith. They can make miracles, or miraculous things happen to them because of their faith, because Warhammer World is like that. Your mindset, your beliefs can directly influence reality. A lot of people today, from the New Age movement especially, think that that's possible in our world as well. Well, it's not. But inside of the Warhammer 40k, it is possible. So they kind of shape reality through their faith to the Emperor. Interesting. They're definitely, well, like beautiful women fighting dogmatically, zealously, religiously on the battlefield, armed with flamers, with melter guns and bolters, unyielding and vengeful against every type of heresy, up to a point that becomes very much a worrying thing, because Argenta, which is I think a fine fine example of a battle sister inside of the Rogue Trader, is one part such a gentle creature, such a gentle woman with frailties and dreams and passions and true desire to help those who are weaker, but then she dreams of burning 1,000 heretics on the stake and enjoying in that. Like, how can you merge those two realities? In reality, you cannot. But within this world, I guess somehow you can. So for me, Battle Sisters are very interesting figures. They are contradicting figures, actually. They are a cool representation of actual nuns, like Catholic nuns, inside of this world. They are fighters, and they have a strong, devoted spirits because they are the brides of Christ in this world. If you would put that spiritual reality inside of the fantasy world and give them actual weapons instead of rosaries, they would probably look like that. But they would not dream of burning 1,000 heretics on stakes, though. That is the big difference. They are a very interesting faction, and despite their flaws and their overly dogmatic commitment to some things, I like them. I like them. They're very interesting faction. And yeah, I would actually put them somewhere here, below Eldar or above Eldar. Inquisition, yeah, maybe here. To play or to role play as a battle sister would be, yes, it would be very much fun. It would definitely be fun to role play as a battle sister. Yep. Would I put her in an S rank? Battle sister in an S rank. Ooh, I don't know. There are... Okay. Let's put her at the top of the A rank. Yes. I'm not sure for the S rank. But top of the A rank for sure. Okay. Next, the Tau Empire. Tau Empire, very young, probably young, technologically advanced alien race that seeks to unite the galaxy under what? The greater good. They seek the greater good and they want to basically acquire all the races under their banner. They're very optimistic, of course, for 40k at least, and very collectivist, masters of ranged warfare, that probably not so good in melee. They want to assimilate other races inside of their society, which is basically a caste society, but also you can transition, I think, through the castes, I think, because it's a very much a meritorious type of a society. They use superior technology, they use diplomacy, and they have definitely higher moral standards than most of the universe. So, I don't know, I don't know what to think about them. They're definitely better than most, probably better than the Imperium in a way, but they don't really look like fun race to play. And just because of that, I will put them in a B rank. Maybe if I learn more about them, it would be more interesting. But they don't sound that interesting, actually, just because of that. And yeah, but morally, from that kind of a perspective, they're definitely better than most. Next, the Tyranids. Wow, the Tyranids. Okay, they are the ultimate mindless in a way, though they do have a mind. It's a hive mind, and like that's one organism. The Tyranids would be better than Tyranids. All the Tyranids are like the cell organism of the brain that exists somewhere, I don't know where. Maybe like a whole planet or like a galaxy is like a Tyranid brain. I have no idea, but they are probably the biggest existential threat to all life inside of the Warhammer world. They are an extragalactic horde of insectoid creatures, like the space locusts. Driven by the collective hive mind, what do? They're not parasitic, but they're just consuming. They want to consume all biomass that exists. So there's something evil within them, you know? I first thought they're just like animals. They function like, I don't know, specific organisms. But even those organisms somehow find a balance within the larger ecosystem, do they not? But these guys, the Tyranids, there's no one that can put them into balance. They are completely imbalanced. They're imba. So you want to exterminate everything that is Tyranid related. They are a big threat. You cannot completely say that they're evil from a moral perspective, but because we have no idea what kind of a free will that they actually possess, or it actually possesses. But that they're a huge threat, and there is something sinister, very much sinister and terrifying and utterly alien within those Tyranids, definitely. So I will put them actually here, right between Chaos Gods and Drukhari. We want to unite against the Tyranids because they are the ultimate, or one of the ultimate threats. Connected to the Tyranids are the Genestealer Cults. The Genestealer Cults, well, they are the communists of Warhammer 40k. The vanguard of the Tyranids. Their existence is basically to destabilize society in order for others to basically simply take the whole planet. They worship the alien overlords as their divine saviors, and when the divine saviors come, they realize what they have done, that they have been completely deluded, and that they will die along with the rest of the planet and will be absorbed as just another biomass. So it's very tragic, actually. Genestealer Cults are very much a tragic faction because they are influenced, they are genetically changed, they are brainwashed, they think that they're doing a good thing, and sooner or later they learn the deeper truth. So, what should we do with the Genestealer Cults? They are tragic figures, but yeah, I think I will put them in C. Definitely would not be a race faction to play. It would be though interesting to play some other faction and try to find a way how to save a Genestealer Cult people. Because in a way, guys, that's my reality as a priest. Most of the people, guys that I know, guys, gals, whatever, those who are not inside of the church, that means most of my friends, because I was not really a person of faith before, and did not associate with people of faith, with Christians. Most of the people that I know, from my perspective, I know it's weird, listen to me, so most of you guys probably as well, are a part of the Genestealer Cults. And I firmly believe that it's possible to reverse the process, to reverse the brainwashing, for the poor guys to root out their corruption through what? Baptism, and for them to have the light of Christ within their minds and to actually serve the true God Emperor and not to be slaves to the Tyranids that want to come and destroy the world. So yeah, maybe it's a far fetch. I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but I see the Genestealer Cults as something very much tragic and relatable faction, something that I would like to fight for their survival in a way, but not in the way that they are, but for them to be changed or brought to the light. Okay. Finally, a sugar for the end, the Orks, the boys, the Wow. Wow, okay, they are... I have no idea if we can even say for them that they have a moral compass. Their level of consciousness is just weird. They have a specific level of intelligence, definitely. Specific psychic powers, definitely. They can really influence the world that they're living in when they're en masse, because of the psychic powers that collectively have incredible strength. So they can make weapons to work which would not be able to work usually. And they just want to fight. They don't care about anything else. They want fight. And they respect everybody that can fight and that they can that can defeat them as well. As some like human figures from the Imperium, from the Astra Militarum, that they actually have a high respect because they were defeated by them. So that's cool, that's awesome, and they are like the only comedic relief in a way inside of the Warhammer 40k that I've seen. They're simply fun guys to watch. I'm not sure if they would be as fun guys to play as a whole faction. Why? Because, okay, if we're playing like a Rogue Trader tabletop, I don't think it's possible to have like an orc inside of the party. Orcs are just there to be with other orcs, and for them to reproduce as spores into more orcs, and then to fight and to conquer everything and make more orcs. Orcs is just orcs. So to roleplay orcs would have to be like all of us inside of the party would be orcs, and we would just be committed to fighting, just first-person shooter type of experience. Not much of role-playing other than funny accents and finding ways how to kill and invade more. They're incredibly fun. I actually loved the presentation from Bricky on the orcs. I love seeing orcs. Somehow I just like their presence within the world. I like them as a threat to fight against, but I also like them as them in a way. They have a specific purity in them. They just want to fight. They're not evil in themselves, you know? They're just weird organisms that exist on a specific level of consciousness. I don't know what to think about them. I don't know where to put them. Definitely not in the D or C rank. B, A, or S, I have no idea. I would not play them probably. Maybe just for like short time, something to have fun, like, oh, we're playing an orc, but not for a longer time. We cannot develop a good story. I would not be able to develop a good story. They're like the low IQ type of a barbarian figure that you would play inside of the Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of like that, and just wants to fight all the time. So not, yeah. You know what? I will actually put them in A rank. I will put them here, even above Rogue Traders, just because they're special and they really made me laugh a lot when I was doing a reaction, and I'm grateful for that. I like laughing a little bit, especially within the grim dark. I'm glad that the Orks and also the Bricky had the ability to present the Orks in such a way that it would bring smiles to our faces. And it was funny for me to see all of you during the reaction, just on the comments, excited to see the Orks finally, and writing just the wah comments. So yeah, where to put them within my Christian moral background, the ethic perspective, I have no idea. Orks are orcs. They're kind of mindless, and I would have to learn, of course, more about them to make better conclusions, and maybe I will in future videos. But for now, I also, like Tyranids, don't see them as moral agents. They're like a force, a weird force that exists over there. They exist just for one purpose. That purpose is still much more attractive than for the Tyranids. And even though they are a threat, almost maybe a threat on the level of the Tyranids, they're much more lovable, likable, type of character that is not as mindless as Tyranids. They have some kind of a personality. They have a walk to themselves. And they can, yes, they can have respect for other people, for other races, factions against which they are fighting. So yeah, okay guys, I think that's it. I hope that you liked my oh no, okay, I'm putting them on top of the A rank. The Orks are just cool. I would I would play them not a lot, but just from the likability perspective, I'm giving them a veto. They have a special permission from me now to be on top of the A rank, just because they're so fun. Okay, Thanks for watching. Thanks for all the suggestions. Soon we're gonna making deeper dives inside of the Warhammer lore. Now we just scratched the surface, and I gave this kind of a tier list just from the surface level perspective that I have. After a little bit of deep dives, after a couple of months maybe, I will be able to make a better tier lists, maybe for within specific factions, like different Space Marine legions or chapters. Okay, thanks for watching. I'm hoping that you will suggest this video to others if you like it. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all the things that appease the YouTube machine spirit. And thanks for watching. Pax Vobiscum. God bless you truly, and I hope I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.